Never eat turmeric with these three foods. It can cause serious health problems. Did you know that adding one wrong food to your breakfast could cancel out turmeric's healing benefits? It's true. Turmeric has been praised by doctors, wellness gurus, and ancient healers alike for its power to reduce inflammation, ease joint pain, and protect your brain. But what no one tells you is this. Over 80% of people use turmeric the wrong way and never see results. In today's video, you'll discover the 3 most common foods that silently destroy turmeric's power, and how simple, mindful changes can unlock its full healing potential. We'll also explore 3 powerful pairings that work harmoniously with turmeric, turning it into a sacred tool for your health, not just another forgotten spice in your cabinet. And stick with me until the end, because it's not just about turmeric. It's about awakening to the subtle ways our daily choices shape our well-being, physically, mentally, and spiritually. This might be the video that changes how you eat and heal. Before we dive in, do me a small favor. Tap that like button, share this with someone who needs it, and subscribe to Buddhist Health. We're on a mission to reach thousands of subscribers and bring more wisdom, compassion, and healing into the world, together with you. Now, let's begin. 3 foods that destroy turmeric's power. Most people think that taking turmeric is enough. You add a spoonful to your tea, stir it into your oatmeal, or toss it in a smoothie and feel like you've done something good for your health. And honestly, that effort matters. It shows you're trying. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Turmeric doesn't work in a vacuum. If you're it with the wrong foods, you might be wasting its potential and reversing its benefits altogether. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, is what makes it so powerful. It's the reason people turn to it for joint pain, inflammation, heart health, or brain support. But curcumin is also incredibly fragile. It needs the right environment to be absorbed by your body, and most people never hear that part. That's why we will talk about 3 everyday foods millions of Americans consume without realizing they're canceling turmeric's power. And chances are, you've had at least one this week. Let's start in the fridge. Processed dairy might seem harmless, convenient, even comforting. A slice of American cheese on a sandwich, a splash of flavored creamer in your coffee, or that vanilla yogurt you reach for every morning. But here's the kicker. Processed dairy doesn't just contain milk. It's packed with emulsifiers, gums, sweeteners, preservatives, and artificial flavors. Additives designed to extend shelf life and improve taste, not support your health. And many of those compounds can bind to curcumin in your digestive tract, locking it down so your body can't absorb it. It's like building a wall between the nutrient and your bloodstream. Take Margaret, for example. She's 68 and has struggled with knee pain for years. After reading about turmeric online, she added it to her breakfast yogurt every morning. 2 months passed. Nothing changed. The pain was still there. Frustrated, she assumed turmeric was just another overhyped supplement, but it wasn't. The yogurt she loved, low-fat, artificially sweetened, and packed with stabilizers, quietly neutralized the thing she hoped would heal her. Margaret wasn't wrong in what she did, just misinformed. And she's not alone. Next up, vinegar-heavy foods. Think salad dressings, pickles, ketchup, and mustard. They're kitchen staples, especially in American households. But here's the problem. Curcumin is incredibly sensitive to pH. When your digestive system becomes too acidic, curcumin breaks down before it can be absorbed. So, do you drizzle turmeric vinaigrette on your spinach salad? It might feel like a smart move, but the acidity from the vinegar could be wiping out curcumin's benefits before they even have a chance. And if you're someone over 60 dealing with acid reflux, bloating, or a sensitive stomach, the mix of vinegar and turmeric can be even worse. That's precisely what happened to Robert, a retired math teacher who started making turmeric vinaigrettes as part of his new health kick. Spinach, grilled chicken, a splash of apple cider vinegar, and a dash of turmeric. Every day, like clockwork. But instead of feeling better, he started noticing more discomfort. The salad was clean, sure, but the turmeric never stood a chance. And then there's the sweet stuff. The pastries, the boxed cereals, the muffins that make mornings feel cozy. These are comfort foods, emotionally loaded with memories of Sunday breakfasts and roadside diners, but they're also loaded with sugar, turmeric's greatest rival. While turmeric works to fight inflammation, sugar aggressively fuels it. It's a biochemical tug of war, and guess who loses? Curcumin. Linda, 67, was on her turmeric journey. She added it to her morning smoothie with a banana, chocolate syrup, and sweetened protein powder. It tasted great, but her joints still ached, and her energy never improved. Eventually, she quit turmeric, thinking it didn't work. But the issue wasn't the spice, it was everything surrounding it. This isn't about shame, it's about awareness. These foods, processed dairy, acidic condiments, sugary treats, are everywhere. They're part of our routines. We reach for them without thinking, but they can quietly dismantle the power of something meant to heal us. You don't have to eliminate these foods from your life entirely, just don't pair them with turmeric. Space them out. Make small swaps. Little changes can lead to massive shifts. Because turmeric isn't magic, but when you stop sabotaging it and start supporting it, it becomes a powerful ally on your healing path. 3 simple foods that unlock turmeric's full healing power. It's easy to believe that healing only comes from cutting things out. Remove this food, avoid that habit, eliminate this trigger. And yes, sometimes subtraction helps, but just as often it's about what you add. The small, supportive companions that unlock the full potential of something good. The truth is simple regarding turmeric. The right pairings make all the difference. You can think of turmeric as a gifted traveler on a healing journey through your body. But without the right vehicle, it can't get far. That's where these 3 humble ingredients, black pepper, healthy fats, and raw honey, come in. They are the wheels, the fuel, and the warm encouragement along the way. Together, they form what I call the sacred trio. They're rooted not just in modern science, but in thousands of years of Ayurvedic wisdom. Let's start with black pepper. It's probably sitting on your kitchen table right now, familiar, unremarkable, easy to overlook. But don't let that simplicity fool you. Black pepper contains a compound called piperine, which is the golden key to curcumin absorption. Without it, curcumin passes through your system and is mostly unused. But with just a pinch of pepper, according to multiple studies, absorption skyrockets by as much as 2,000%. Imagine that. One simple spice enhances the effectiveness of another by orders of magnitude. It's not flashy, not expensive, but it's essential. And that's the beauty of black pepper. It teaches us that the most minor additions sometimes make the most significant impact. In Ayurvedic cooking, black pepper and turmeric are rarely separated. They dance together in golden milk, stews, and tonics. Not because it's trendy, but because the ancients understood synergy before modern science gave it a name. They didn't need clinical trials. They had experience, intuition, and time. Next comes healthy fat, the vehicle that carries curcumin into your bloodstream. Curcumin is fat-soluble, meaning it needs fat to be fully absorbed and transported where it's needed most, your joints, brain, and immune system. Without fat, it simply can't complete the journey. In the West, we've been conditioned to fear fat. But the right fats, extra virgin olive oil, avocado, chia seeds, almond butter, flax, walnuts, salmon, are not just safe, they're healing. They reduce inflammation, nourish the heart, and support cell function. And when you pair them with turmeric, they make every dose count. Picture a simple bowl of soup, turmeric, carrots, lentils, and a swirl of olive oil at the end. Or a smoothie, almond butter, frozen blueberries, a spoonful of turmeric, and black pepper. These aren't extravagant meals, but they're powerful. They're medicine made with love. Ayurveda has long emphasized the importance of anupama, a substance that acts as a carrier to deliver herbs deeper into the tissues. Healthy fat is turmeric's anupama. Without it, the herb stays shallow. With it, the healing runs deep. And then there's raw honey, sweet, golden, and deeply symbolic. While not essential to curcumin's absorption like the other two, raw honey offers different magic. It soothes the throat, calms the gut, and enhances immunity. It brings balance. In the cold months or when illness lingers, a warm drink of turmeric, lemon, raw honey, and black pepper can feel like a blanket for your insides. It's grounding, comforting, real. But here's the important part. It must be raw honey. Not the processed, pasteurized kind in a plastic bear bottle. Raw honey is cloudy, unfiltered, and rich in enzymes, antioxidants, and healing compounds. It's honey, as nature intended. In Buddhist thought, the middle way teaches us to avoid extremes. Not too much, not too little. We're invited to walk the path of balance. These 3 ingredients embody that path. They don't demand radical change. They don't ask you to give up everything you love. They simply offer quiet support, a nudge in the right direction. Add a dash of black pepper, stir in a spoon of ghee, swap sweetener for raw honey. These aren't massive shifts, but over time, they add up. And like the middle way itself, they offer sustainable, gentle progress. Turmeric isn't a miracle, it's a gift, but it needs the proper companions to deliver that gift fully. Black pepper, healthy fat, raw honey, each plays a role. Each tells a story, and together they transform turmeric from a trend into a tool, a sacred ally in your healing. In the next section, we'll look at real stories of transformation. People who made these changes and felt the shift, because healing doesn't have to be dramatic to be powerful. Sometimes it begins with a pinch of pepper and a little more care. Healing starts with awareness. Real stories, real shifts. Frank didn't think of himself as someone who needed healing. He was 72, a retired school principal, a proud grandfather, and a relatively active person. But he had started waking up with stiff hands, aching knees, and fog that seemed to hang over him longer each morning. His doctor called it just aging. So like many, Frank took matters into his own hands. He read an article online about turmeric. It could reduce inflammation, support joint health, and improve mental clarity. It sounded promising, and it felt natural. So he bought a bright yellow jar from his local health store and began adding it religiously to his morning oatmeal. He even took a curcumin supplement with breakfast. Weeks passed, then months, and nothing. No change. If anything, he felt slightly more bloated after breakfast. That's the moment most people give up. They assume the turmeric was just hype. Or maybe they blame themselves. I guess I'm just too far gone. But healing doesn't work that way. It doesn't scream, it whispers. And those whispers often begin with awareness. Frank, to his credit, didn't stop there. He mentioned the turmeric to a friend from his old tennis group who was also navigating joint issues. That friend asked a straightforward question: "What are you mixing it with?" It had never occurred to Frank that the context, not just the ingredient, could be the problem. As it turned out, Frank's oatmeal was topped with a sweetened, low-fat vanilla yogurt and a drizzle of maple-flavored syrup. Not real maple, just flavored. The yogurt was processed, the syrup was synthetic, and the curcumin had no chance. It was like throwing seeds on the pavement and wondering why nothing grew. His friend suggested a slight change. Swap the flavored yogurt for plain Greek yogurt, stir in a spoonful of almond butter and black pepper, and keep the turmeric, just one tiny shift. The results weren't immediate, but within 2 weeks Frank noticed he wasn't waking up as stiff. His sleep felt deeper, his energy is steadier. It wasn't dramatic, it was gentle. But for the first time in a long time, he felt like his body was working with him, not against him. That's what awareness does. It creates space, not for perfection, but for adjustment. So many people carry shame around their health. They think I should have known better, or I'm doing everything right and nothing's working. But health isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about noticing and observing and tweaking and trying again. Like mindfulness itself, it's a practice, not a destination. In Buddhist teachings, right mindfulness, samasati, isn't about avoiding discomfort, it's about recognizing it without judgment. I'm sitting with it and listening to what the body is saying. Frank's story is just one example, but there are countless others. Linda stopped using sweetened protein powders in her smoothie and switched to frozen berries and raw honey. There's Robert, who replaced his vinegar-based dressing with olive oil and lemon, and finally saw improvement in his digestion. Denise started cooking her turmeric eggs in avocado oil instead of spraying non-stick cooking spray from a can. None of these people overhauled their lives. They simply became more present with what they were consuming and how it made them feel. That's awareness in action. Because there's a return to relationship at the core of all healing. Not just with food, but with your body. We live in a culture that teaches us to tune out, pop a pill, suppress symptoms too, and move on. But when we slow down and listen, the body tells us everything we need to know. Turmeric isn't a miracle, but it's a powerful tool when used with awareness. And healing, real healing, doesn't come from force. It comes from alignment, noticing where something is off, and making a compassionate shift. That shift may be as simple as reading the label on your yogurt. Perhaps it's adding a pinch of black pepper to you. Maybe it's realizing you've been trying too and it's time to soften. Whatever the shift is for you, let it begin with awareness. Let it be gentle. Let it be kind, because every healing journey begins the same way, by paying attention. Food, mindfulness, and the middle path to wellness. By now we've explored the science, the stories, and the subtle mistakes that can block turmeric's potential. But to truly understand healing, not just in the body, but in our lives, must go deeper. Because turmeric, like any medicine, is just a tool. The fundamental transformation happens not from what we consider, but how we live. And this is where the teachings of the Buddha offer profound wisdom, timeless, grounded, and surprisingly practical. In Buddhism, there's a principle known as the middle way. It was the path the Buddha discovered after years of living in extremes, first as a prince in luxury, then as an ascetic in deprivation. Neither indulgence nor punishment led to peace. Only when he chose balance, the middle way between excess and denial, he found clarity, vitality, and awakening. This wisdom applies just as much to our relationship with food. In the West, we often bounce between extremes. We diet, we binge, we restrict, we indulge. We label foods as good or bad, as if morality can be baked into a cookie. But from a Buddhist perspective, food is neither a virtue nor a vice. It is fuel. It is a relationship, and it is a reflection of how we care for ourselves. We miss the point when we approach turmeric or any food with desperation, urgency, or obsession. Healing becomes another project, another perfection to chase. But when we approach food with mindfulness, everything changes. In Buddhist tradition, mindful eating isn't about eating slowly, just for the sake of it. It's about being fully present with what you're consuming. Not just in taste, but in intention. Are you eating out of hunger, or from habit, from nourishment, or numbness? And this is where turmeric surprisingly becomes a teacher. Turmeric won't work under pressure. It won't perform just because you demand it. It needs the right environment, the right companions, the right attitude, just like the body, just like the heart. The Buddha also taught about the 5 sensual desires, known as kamacchanda in Pali, craving for sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and touches. He didn't condemn these pleasures, he simply warned against being controlled by them. Because when we're ruled by craving, we suffer. We eat not to nourish but to fill a void. That's why self-compassion is central to the healing journey. It's not about strict rules or guilt-based motivation, it's about understanding that your body is your home. And how you treat it matters, not as a punishment, not as an aesthetic project, but as an act of kindness. An old Zen is saying, how you eat is how you live. That means the care you bring to preparing your tea, the patience you practice while cooking, and the gratitude you feel before your first bite is all part of wellness. These are all part of awakening. Think of the monastics, the monks and nuns who live simply yet radiate peace. They don't calories or chase superfoods. They eat mindfully, moderately, in silence, and gratitude. They respect the food, not because it's trendy, but because it's life itself. And when they eat, they recite a simple truth. This food is a gift of the earth, the sky, countless living beings, and much hard work. When we internalize this reverence, our relationship with food changes. We stop taking it for granted. We start listening to our bodies. We begin trusting the wisdom within. Even the concept of karma plays a role here, not in the mystical sense, but in the practical one. Every action has a consequence. Every bite is a seed. What we choose to put into our bodies today creates the conditions for tomorrow. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. You don't have to be a monk to live this way. You don't have to renounce your kitchen or turn every meal into a meditation. But you can begin by asking simple questions. What am I nourishing? What am I avoiding? What does this food say about how I value myself? The truth is, turmeric is just a symbol, a starting point. What matters more is the attitude we bring to it, because healing is never about one ingredient, it's about one intention, an intention to live with more presence, compassion, and balance. The middle path isn't passive, it's powerful. It invites you to care without control, change without forcing, and heal without punishing. And when we walk that path, turmeric, or any food, becomes more than medicine. It becomes a reflection of mindfulness itself. So the next time you stir that golden powder into your tea or soup, remember, it's not just about the spice, it's about the state of mind you bring to it. Not too much, not too little, just enough, just right. So here we are, at the end of this journey, not just through turmeric but through something deeper. We've looked at the misunderstandings, the mistakes, the science, and the stories. We've explored the power of small allies like black pepper, healthy fats, and raw honey. We've reflected on awareness, intention, and the Buddhist path of balance. And now, perhaps the most important lesson of all, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. This healing journey isn't a straight line. It's not a checklist of superfoods or supplements. It's a slow unfolding, remembering what your body needs, how it speaks, and how you can support it with gentle wisdom rather than force. That could mean switching your morning creamer from artificial to almond milk. Maybe it's skipping the bottled vinaigrette and making your own with olive oil and lemon. Maybe it's taking a deep breath before each meal just to say, I'm here. I'm listening. These aren't big, flashy changes, but they matter because healing isn't about grand gestures, it's about consistent care. It's about the intention behind every small act, and that's where progress lives. You don't need to get it all right today. You don't have to throw out your pantry or start over from scratch. You just need to choose once to show up differently, and then choose again tomorrow, and the day after that. These choices, tiny and sacred, become your path. That's what mindfulness is. That's what love looks like in motion, not punishing your body for being in pain. Do not blame yourself for what you didn't know, but gently guide yourself step by step into deeper awareness and healing. And when you find something that helps, even something as humble as turmeric, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Talk about it. Pass it on, because we are all walking each other home. And one small insight, shared with love, can ripple out in ways you'll never fully see. So whether you're 60 or 90, just beginning or already deep in the work, know this. You're not behind, you're not broken, you're not too late, you're already on the path. And that's enough, more than enough. Thank you for being here, for choosing to care, for choosing to heal.